So isn't it lovely whenever you get to the final 15 minutes of an hour-long sales call? You got a ton of rapport build, you dove super deep in his discovery, and even kicked some ass at pre-handling objections that definitely would have come up here now later in the call. Dude is like 2 feet in, and you drop price, and he's broke. It's that dagger in the stomach where your mind goes, for sake, of course. I could even feel this dude was speaking broke language in discovery, so I'm honestly not even surprised. That mindset is one of the weakest excuses for a simple lack of skill and lack of conviction in getting resourceful. There's a difference between not having the money and not being able to get it versus not having the money but not being willing to get resourceful enough to go find a way to get it. Anybody can go drive Uber on the weekend 4 times a month and find a way to scrape together another $1,000, put that down on a financing partner, boom, you got them. And that, my friends, is what separates the closer at the top of the leaderboard versus everyone else. When I was a closer, I sold on a real estate lead gen offer in one of the worst financial crises in the real estate market in 2023 when interest rates were almost 8%. Every single real estate agent I talked to was broke. They never said they were, but they were. And I never let that stop me from trying to help them get resourceful, because people who don't have money have urgency. You just need to show them how to get resourceful. And that's how I would consistently make 20 to 30% in additional commissions every single month with taking the exact same amount of calls as everybody else. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how close you really are. You just need to shift your belief that you can get people to go get the money and become resourceful, because the majority of these objections are fear-based mixed with a lack of accountability, AKA they need you to lead them in the right direction by giving them your foot in their ass. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Everything we talk about on this channel is how to consistently hit those $1,000 days in high ticket sales. No income claims, purely educational, just putting you on serious game per usual. And if you're a returning subscriber, as always, welcome back. Now let's get into it.
I guess I want to see, because I do want to review a call.
Yeah.
Just so they can kind of get some insight.
I have one from a guy who at the end of the call said, "I'm dead broke." Do you want to watch that one?
Pull it up.
What about now? Yeah.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Wonderful. How we doing, Matthew?
I'm doing well. How about you? How you doing?
Not that bad. Okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's quite demanding, and I feel like it's just making me get stuck in this location so much that I can't move around that much. So that's why I want to switch to something that is more flexible, something that I can do on my phone, something that I can do on my computer and go to other locations.
Okay. Because demanding in what way? What do you mean? Because based on what Rafi mentioned to me,
Yeah.
we have a pretty decent working schedule. So it's not that bad. I've seen way worse. So demanding in what way? To actually not allow you to start something online already.
Good pro.
Oh, demanding in a way of like, yeah, yes, I have a schedule, but after that, you're like tired. Yeah. And when you get back home, you're mentally exhausted. There's nothing more you can do but, sit down, go through your bills, pay your bills, maybe put some music on, and then it's already late. You have to make dinner, you have to eat, you have to do all that stuff, laundry, the daily life.
Yeah, I hear you. Because it's not bad. You will not die. Like nothing. It's not that bad to just continue that way. But at the end of the day, it's not that much about the money. It's about purpose, right? So staying 9 to 5, is it actually filling up your purpose? Probably not. Otherwise, it will not be here, right? So okay. Because knowing that obviously this past 5 years, obviously job is demanding, then you're tired. Obviously, you're not really in the mood to work or do something extra. Instead, after the 9 to 5, do a 5 to 9 to actually make sure you get out of the 9 to 5. What shifted now, Matthew? That made you feel like, even though the schedule is going to be the same now, you're actually going to put the work in.
I've always wanted to do it. I've just never got the chance to have a meeting like this. I've always been looking online, searching. I've got on calls. I've got
Hold up. Here we go.
to show up a lot at the office and stuff like that. So
he's right here. He's like, I've always wanted to do it. I've never got the chance to have a meeting like this. I've always been looking online, searching. I've got on calls. I've always wanted to do it. Just the urge didn't come to right now. I've always wanted to do it. I've always wanted to do it.
It's always been there, even when I'm working. Like right now, I'm not at my job right now, so I have some time off.
So it's like, my question is like, why haven't you then?
Yeah.
Like, simply put, it's like, that's one thing where he's like, I've always wanted to do it. Like, he's like throwing it at you, and you got him to open up pretty well because you can see he's talking, but it's like cost of inaction. Like, if he's gonna come into the call and he's like, I'm flat dead broke, I can't do this. The thing is, bro, like, we have, like, on our offer, we have people that say the exact same thing, and we get them to go get money or get credit or apply for things or do that, just because the cost of not doing something ends up being way worse. So the reason why I say that is because, like, yeah, if you're selling B2C, this is going to be probably the biggest thing that comes up. They're flat out broke, but they should be getting off the call, even if you don't close it, saying, I'm flat out broke, but here's the next game plan. Like, I'm going to go apply for Amex Blue Cash. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. Like, they should be trying to go do it. If they're not trying to go do it, then that means that there's not enough pain to go fix it. Because anybody can find a way to scrape together a couple $1,000s to put as a down payment on a financing partner. Anybody can. Like, anybody. That's why, like, I don't, like, believe that people are broke. Like, even if you're broke, you can find a way to make money if you want it bad enough. If this guy's been sitting here and he's been saying, I've been wanting to do it, I've been wanting to do it, I've been wanting to do it, I've been wanting to do it. It's like, all right, bro, I'm going to kill him at the end of the call with that. Like, bro, you've been wanting to do it, you've been wanting to do it, you've been wanting to do it, but now you're going to tell me you're flat broke. What are you going to do about that? Like, that's a you thing. How are you going to go fix that? How are you going to come back to me? What's the solution that you're going to come back to me with the money to get started? If it's a 10 out of 10.
Come. So yeah, I believe I'll have more time. I have been on some calls. I've been on the most recent one I was on is it's called John Casablancas. They're like a modeling agency.
Okay.
Yeah, they teach you how to present yourself and all that stuff. So, but they were charging me a lot for the classes, so I couldn't afford to do that. So yeah, I was like, okay, cool. When I get the money to do that, I can join you guys and start paying for classes and keep doing this with you. And that's like a modeling agency where you have to like actually go and do a runway. Because I make about 5,000 in my job, but then I have to, I have to be there. I have to put gas in the car. I have to.
Okay. What's the first trip that you're gonna plan?
All right, so yeah, because I make about 5,000 my job, and then I have to be there. I have to put gas in the car. I have to show up a lot at the office and stuff like that. So with UGC, I believe there's a lot of flexibility and there's a lot of ways to video. So it's like when somebody tells me this, since he's leading with like how much he makes, like he's telling you, doesn't even really look like you had to press him for it.
So for
Or
me
maybe you
to
did
understand
there.
a bit more the game plan here, for you to be able to replace your income,
Yeah.
quit your job, because if you don't quit your job, you're gonna struggle. So I guess you're wanting to quit your job, work online, and live the lifestyle that you want. How much money would you have to bring in with UGC to actually make sure we can pull this off on a month?
I
Yeah.
want to say about $6,000 a month per se,
Mhm.
6,000, 7,000, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I make about 5,000 in my job, but then I have to, I have to be there. I have to.
So when you're doing anything, especially entrepreneurship, do you think that my question to you, Faram, would be like, do you think that you're going to make more money in entrepreneurship in the beginning, or do you think you're going to make more money at a job?
I mean, the first month probably at the job, yeah,
Yeah. Why?
because I live for a paycheck, so I know the paycheck is gonna come at the end of the month. But otherwise, I gotta get the paycheck by myself and go get
So,
it.
so is it fair to assume that maybe the reason why you think you need to make 6 or 7K with UGC is because you're trying to account for making more money than you're currently making right now plus your job? Is that the reason why you said 6 to 7? Just help me kind of understand.
Yeah, because I feel like at that point I would be more comfortable than now as well.
Well, then let me ask you on this note, and I don't want to get super personal, but I just want to make sure that like I'm putting you in the best position to win, right? Framing in their best interest. If you're making $5,000 a month right now, obviously you have a life, you have bills, you have electricity. I can see that you have a light beside you, right? You don't have a candle next to you, right? I can tell that you're a human, you have to live. What are the actual expenses on a month-to-month basis actually look like for you that are like non-negotiables? You have to pay these. Obviously, you have to eat food. Like, what does that look like?
Maybe like $4,000.
Okay, so on a month-by-month basis, is that 5,000 you're making from work like in the pocket, or is that 5,000 like pre-tax?
I made like 4,800.
So, and then
Like
bills are
like
are
after
they, because when you're talking that things are this tight, I mean, $100 is a massive difference. So when you say bills are 4,000, are they 4,000? Are they 3,800? Are they 4,200? Like, be like super specific because we don't have like a lot to play with here. Sounds like.
I would say like average 4,000 flat, yeah.
Okay. So you're telling me on a month by month basis, we're saving potentially $800. potentially. Like best case scenario.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been stacking that cash, or just me to you? Would you kind of say like the rubber's meeting the road most months? Like we don't really have much to really work with. And the reason why I asked that, Ferran, isn't because I'm trying to gauge how much you have. It's just because like transparently, you said it yourself. If you're jumping into entrepreneurship, you were like, yeah, I'll probably make more money with my job in the beginning. And it's true. I'm not going to be the guy to come on here and tell you like, oh yeah, month one, you're going to make 6 or 7K. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to put you in a position to like lose, like quit your job and then lose. So that'd be my question to you. It's like, how much have you been saving? Or have you even been saving? You can be honest with me.
No, I've not really saved up much, to be honest, because I'm
Okay, so
someone
Ferran, this is
like,
what I'm saying. Like, I'm 11 minutes into the call, and I'm basically at the point where I can like PQ this dude. I'm
yeah.
not going to like right now, but like that's how I'd probe it right here. 11 minutes into the call versus like spending another 40 minutes to get the same answer. I'm going to do the damage control right here. Because then what I'm going to say is, okay, well, then my question to you, Ferran, is like you say, you know, you want to make 6 or 7K with UGC, but what if we could just make 2 or 3 while you also have the job? Like, what would that even do for you? Just an extra 2 grand a month.
I mean, that will help a lot, to be honest.
I mean, that's what I'm
Kind of.
saying. You know, like obviously, we would love to help you make 6 or 7. And do I think you could? Absolutely. If you're doing this full time and you got some months in here, but just like anything in life, like there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. So, and I say this because you've been telling me you've been jumping on calls and you've been really wanting to do this, and I don't want to shoot you down here, but it's like with you sitting here and telling me like rubber's meeting the road, right? Like we don't really have much capital like set aside and saved up just for like living expenses, not even for us, a program or products, like not even any of that stuff, just like your life. It's going to be, you're going to be really, really, really fearful in like making any type of financial decision because, like you said, you haven't really been saving much money. And even if you have, it's not really much money to begin with. So, my question for you is like, if we haven't really been stacking up a bunch of money, if we're not really in the best position financially right now to pivot, I think it would be fair to assume that maybe just getting started with something like helping you find a way to land a client, land 2 clients, make a couple $1,000s extra a month. Because then we're really going to start saving up 3, 4, 5, and then that will start growing. And then you'll have the confidence to actually pivot into this full time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
I'd handle that right here. And then like from this point on, like I'm not saying like don't pitch this guy, right? But then I'm going to lean more into like, so let's actually stay on this topic real quick. Like with finances being tight, with things being this, with things being that, like obviously there's an investment here and it's not like $100. Like everything we do here is super custom. So like, would you even say that you're in the best position or you even have the resources to allocate funds to something new right now like this? Like genuinely.
I mean, it depends on how much it is.
I mean,
How much
like, I mean, like, not even that. Like, even if it was, like, even if it was 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4, like, do you even have capital set aside and wiggle room set aside to even make an investment? Because, like, you just told me a minute, and this is why I did this earlier, Fran. You just told me a minute ago that, like, you have an 800 spread difference from the red line and how much you make. And you also been telling me you haven't really been saving. So, like, you know, even if it was $100. You know what I mean? Like we could talk about it, and it's not 100. Like you know, there's multiple different investment ranges that we'll get into a little bit later in the call. But that's the reason why I'm asking this question early. It's just because like I'm trying to gauge, man. You know, do you even have access to capital? Because even if you put money into this, you know, with where you're currently at and what you've currently told me, are you going to go negative? Like, do you have credit? Are you in debt right now? And I know these are like personal questions, but we have to look at everything from a risk mitigation standpoint, Ferran. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to, you know, kick you off the call because you don't have money. I really don't care. But more so than anything, like, we have to actually plan accordingly in terms of our risk. So, like, are you transparently, you in any debt? Are you kind of cleared up? Do you got credit cards? Can you take big swings? Like, or are you kind of in a place where you're like, bro, all my funds are tied up and I'm deep in debt? Because if that's the case, bro, like, I wouldn't even really advise you to do this right now. You see how like the whole time here in the last 5 minutes, everything is framed in his best interest. Not
Yeah.
once have I made it seem like I really care about it being for me. And I frame around it. Like every time I'm about to say something financially, I'm like, dude, like transparently, like I'm just saying this in your best interest because I don't want you to fail. And like in B2C, like that's what they want to hear. Like they want you to say that because they have skepticism that they're going to fail. And the reason why I do all this early is because at the end of the call, if you do decide to keep rolling and you price drop, and he's like, yeah, like, bro, you're like, yeah, bro. I mean, like, I literally pre-framed the price drop. I'm like, hey, like, this number is going to be way higher than you want it to be, bro. I'll be honest with you. But we can talk about it. We can kind of potentially try to come up with a plan because based on everything that you told me earlier, you probably don't have all the working capital necessary to make the investment work. But like I mentioned, this number is going to be a lot higher than you want to hear. Let's just talk about it. All right. And he's like, yeah. And then you price drop. And then it just becomes a conversation of like, well, you told me earlier you have some credit. You know what I mean? Now I can like tie them back. But you told me earlier that you weren't in debt and you had credit. Because then it's not logistics, it's fear. That's what it is. Because I see a lot of people that DQ calls and like, oh, they weren't financially qualified. It's like, if the guy's got a credit card, he's financially qualified. That's fear. That's not logistics. So I want to get ahead of that and learn that earlier. If this guy tells me right now, Ferran, bro, I'm $4,000 in debt and I have no savings, then yeah, bro, I'm probably going to financially disqualify this guy right here in Discovery. Transparently.
Yeah, thing is I did not get that information out, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's the point, bro. That's why I was like, let me see one of these calls. Because like you're good at sales. Like I've seen your sales calls. It's just like some of the small things like that to save you some time here and also to do more damage. Because like Demena, even Manuela, you heard her say it coming in a minute ago. She's like, when someone tells me they're broke, how I'm broke, how it's like, bro, we still close people that don't have money. We do. Like we finance people into this program that don't have money. I think that those people actually end up being some of the best students, in my opinion. That's why like I hate counting people off for finances because like they really want it. You just have to be better consulting and helping them find a way to get it. Like
I mean, I found the money somewhere.
Because the pain was deep enough. That's the truth. Like when I onboarded Manuela, she was like, I'm in this game. I have no other option. Like I have to make this shit work. I want to make this shit work. But she was like very like adamant on making it happen. And that's the thing. I see a lot of people like they're unable to close B2C because they're like, oh, they weren't financially qualified. It's like, bro, then that's your job. If you're in B2B and finances aren't a problem, then your job is, be a better consultant, overcome 1 billion objections, do all that type of crazy shit. Yeah, for sure. But like in B2C, you're like, I told this to Demena and Katie yesterday because we had 15 calls on the calendar and we didn't close anybody yesterday. And I didn't get mad. I just told them straight up. I was like, girls, like, you have to understand to some degree, you're going to have to like push the fuck out of these people. You're going to have to push them hard. Like in terms of their finances, their limiting beliefs, their that type of shit, you have to push them early and you have to push them hard because if you're going to try to close somebody in B2C, it's not going to work. You have to advise them. Like that's what they're looking at you for. Like they'll respect you so much more if you are spending time in Discovery doing what I just did and like literally being like a financial advisor for them. Like helping them with their risk mitigation and showing them like worst case scenarios because B2C is like buying this security. That's what they're buying. You know, if this guy's telling you he's saving $800 a month and that's the spread, put yourself in that shoe. Like, that's very scary. So like, you don't want to be like, oh yeah, no worries. Like we'll talk about investments and I'll like show you and then just drop a $5,800 on his head. That's like 6 months of savings and you didn't validate it earlier versus if you're like, damn, 800, like that's not even including if you want to go out and have a nice steak once a month. You know what I mean? Like, which I'm assuming you probably do. Like so maybe that number's not even 800. Maybe it's closer to the line that we think it is. And he's like, yeah, exactly. He's like, it is. You know, you just got to keep probing and digging. And then it's just like, that's where I'm just going to start asking like, bro, do you even have working capital or resources or connections or friends or anybody? Because like, if not, this conversation would probably best be picked up when you can find a way to cut some of the expenses. Like, let me ask you right now, how the fuck are your expenses $4,000 a month? Like, what are you buying? Well, I'm going to start finding ways to cut shit. Like, do you go out to eat too much? I know it's like stupid combos, but it's like those little things that matter so much where you're like, bro, like you got to cut back on the DoorDash and you got to save an extra $800 a month because then we'd have another $1,600 a month. And that's so much, we can do so much more damage with that. And I know it sounds like redundant to like, or not, I don't think the right word is redundant. It's like, I know it sounds stupid to have to tell somebody that, but like, that's what these guys need to hear, bro. Like, they're not financially like smart. See you, Valentino. I'm not saying that he's not like, you can see the pain, bro. He's like, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. Like
Working with people. I love meeting new people. I love networking with people. I love to like, even at my current job, I network with
because
a lot of
all
people.
this,
So
all this that he's saying right here doesn't matter. Like none of it. Like all this stuff doesn't matter because like you're really good at reframes. Like I've watched your call. Like
yeah.
which is perfect. Okay. If we can all help you, we can all help you. But I do see something in you which sparks when you talk about content. It sparks
see, like you're really good at like getting them back in the pocket and keeping them there.
when you talk about traveling, it sparks when you talk about purpose. But it was not sparking when you were talking about your job.
See?
It was not sparking when we were talking about being 5 more years.
Like you called out the shit. Like I don't have to like coach you on that front. It's just like catching those little things earlier and leaning a little bit more into the consultative selling style. Like I think it's going to help you a lot because you have the genuineness, you have the sincerity. Like you can see it in your tonality and you can see it here.
Here's where you are right now. It was not sparking.
And like look at your body language. Like you're kind of looking off a little bit and you kind of just talk. Like that's how I sell.
Creating content but not making money of it. So I don't know you're passionate about this. And like Rory and the whole team, we don't look for people who have created content already. We don't care how you look. We don't care how handsome you are. We don't care how strong you are, or even if you have like an accent like me.
See, like you're doing such a good job of building trust here.
Because I'm not American originally. But we do care about the things that we cannot teach you, which is this. Are you going to show up? Are you going to put the work in? If something
expectation setting
is not working, are you actually gonna let us hold you accountable to a high standard so you can get the results that you want? Because we're not here to tell you what you want to hear.
Expectation setting, good job.
We're here to tell you what you need to hear and hold you accountable to that. At the end of the day, that's how you will grow and you will get the results that you want as soon as possible.
Best way to build trust is doing this for anybody watching
as well. So based on this, Matthew, I do know we can help you out on this on the UGC.
Is that kind of your own spin-off of what I do, or is that what you've always done for on?
Maybe I picked it up from you guys, yeah.
Yeah, because that's right. That's exactly what I say. I say we look for a lot of intangibles besides, like for example, in this niche, I'm like, Manuela, like for example, I appreciate you being transparent with me. I'll be upfront with you. Like, I do think we can help you, and it's not just because I'm saying it just to make you feel good. It's because we look for a lot of intangibles besides like, are you good at selling? Do you have perfect reframes? Blah blah blah. We look for people who have like the right mindset, and based on everything you kind of set up to this point, you do. Like that's kind of like what we say, right? In that urgency check. And then I'll be like, I guess my last question for you is like, if everything checks your box, like how soon are you looking to move forward? Like we'll say that right before we transition into pitch. And I'm assuming like see right here. There you go. Right here. Jumping into the pitch. Going through everything. Boom, boom, boom. Going through the classroom.
It's way too long. Pitch is way too long. I'm working on it.
If you were to disqualify someone at the beginning, because I'm actually new at that, like disqualifying them like at the beginning of the call or in the first couple minutes, what would that look like? What's that conversation like? What would you say?
Well, I try everything in my power to not disqualify them. But like a disqualify is like when they're financially struggling and you're like probing and probing and probing and they're like, look, bro, like I don't want to get into that. I don't want to tell you that, yada, yada. And you're like challenging the mindset. You're like, I mean, let me ask you this. Like, how am I best equipped to help you if you're not even going to be transparent with me about where you're at? Like, how am I going to create you a game plan to win? And then and I'm acting like confused. And I'm like, then what? Like, we're just going to sit here and I'm going to show you something that's not going to best serve you. Like, that's just not the way that we do it. And they're like, well, then like, I don't know what we're doing here. And they're just like, you cannot overcome the limiting belief. And then they want to like get off the call. That's a disqualify. I don't disqualify people. Like I don't, because there's so many instances that I would build so much of a gap in discovery We would get down to the end, I would price drop, and they would be like, we would try everything. Like they would go through the financing options, they would go through this. I'm sorry, we didn't have financing. They would go through like in-house financing payment plans. And like we couldn't even like they didn't even have like $1,000 liquid to put down. Like I never had financing when I was closing. And so what would happen is I'd be like, no worries. We would create a game plan. I'd spend another 15 minutes creating them a game plan on how they're going to go get the money. And then I would just follow up. And then there were so many deals that I lost. Like, that's just the truth. Like, that's sales. Like, there were so many times I'd follow up and follow up and follow up. And then, like, they would just be like, bro, like, I just don't know. And I'd push them and I'd push them. But there are a lot of instances also that they would come back and pay. So that's the thing. Like, I've changed, like, I have testimonials from guys who have sent me videos. Like, I have this one from this guy named Alex. He sent me a video of his Range Rover, and he was like, I just wanted to say thank you because if it wasn't for you that night, I wouldn't even be here. And he was like, literally had to like split pay him to get in. Like, he didn't close on the first call. I followed up with him for like almost a month. And then I finally one night, it was like super late, and he was giving me all these objections. And I remember telling him, I was like, you know, Alex, there's two types of people in this world. There's person A that can find every reason why it won't work, and there's person B that just takes action. And I've talked to you now this is like our third call. I'll be completely transparent with you. You have all the characteristics of person A, but you have the decision-making process of person B. And that's the reason why you're inevitably not going to make it. And I say that from a place of love because I want to see you win. So my last question to you is, and he even has this in the testimonial, it's like, my last question to you is, what are you going to do? What else are you going to do? You're going to save this money and keep doing the same thing that you've been doing that you've told me that isn't working? Or are you actually going to take a risk and actually put this shit into this? Even if you're nervous and concerned and blah, 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 you've seen enough testimonials. You know it fucking works. You know that you can be successful if you try it. So are you gonna sit here and lean into the characteristics of person A and just fucking make it work? Or are you just going to continue to find every reason that it's not going to work? What are you going to do? And I closed him right there on the phone call. Like, he sat there in silence for like a minute. And then he was like, you're really good. I was like, I don't care about being really good. I care about you just taking action. I do this for a living. Like, I see a lot of people that don't make it because they're right where you're sitting right now and no one gives them that push. And that's all I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to give you that push because I see all the characteristics of a winner. The only thing that you're missing is just making the decision. And he closed. And then he came in and he blew his agency up. And now we're actually working one-on-one together, and he's making a load of money. And he's like one of my best clients. And he to this day, he calls me. He's like, I love you. Like, thank you. Like, changed my life. So that's why I don't financially DQ people. Because like my job, like I've changed people's lives. Like I try not to financially DQ. Like, what the KPI for a closer is not close rate. It's offers made per day. Like, the more offers that you can make per day, the more follow-ups that you can have, the more deals that are in the pipeline that you can work. Like, what would you rather do? Would you rather work a lead that dropped off on the funnel, or would you rather work a lead that's like already been demoed, knows the price, has the pain, wants it, they just weren't financially there? Like, I'd much rather work the second lead, because like all I gotta do is just help the person find a way to get the money because they want it. Like, they want it. They don't get off the call and immediately not want it. They get off the call and all their limiting beliefs come back and struggle, and then they think, I can't do this, or I can do this, or maybe I'm gonna go find a cheaper program, or maybe this, maybe that. There's all these limiting beliefs that come up. And so when I call them back and they're like, bro, I love everything. I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to like find a way to get a couple grand. And there's this other program that's like 3K, and like, I know you guys are 5,800. So I'll probably just get started with them maybe when I find a way to get the money. And then once I kind of like win, I'll come back and like work with you guys. Like, that's a limiting belief. Like, that's an objection. I get over that again. I'm like, okay, let me ask you, are you the type of person that likes to drive a fucking Toyota Camry? Or are you the type of person that likes to drive a Ferrari? Like, I want the front. Why? Because I know it's valuable and perceived value and all that type of stuff. Like, you just get them in the pocket and make them realize that was stupid again. The more like limiting beliefs that you can continue to shatter after the first demo call, like if every single time you're on the phone with them and you're just shattering limiting belief, shattering limiting belief, shattering limiting belief, like, they're going to find a way to get the money, because they're going to be like, bro, this person is like, they're really good at sales. They pitch me really well. They really care about me. And they're like advising me on how to win. But Fran, do you kind of see a little bit of the difference?
Yeah.
I think if you implement that, bro, you're gonna go so much further. Because at the end of the day, like, me and you have the same, like, we're gonna go try and get the money. So like set yourself up in the best position to get it at the end, because if you already know all those things in discovery, you can pre-frame the close so much better. And I don't really even need to see the rest of this. I know you're good at discovery. I don't need to like role play discovery with you. I know it. Like I've done this enough. It's just like those small things where like listen a little bit more. And what I like to do, especially in B2C, is like I financially qualify by setting it in their best interest and asking them about their life. He tells you he makes $5,000 a month. What do bills look like? I'm just finding the difference. If bills are $2K a month, oh, okay, great. So have you been stacking 3,000, or are you the type of person that likes to take trips every time you get a couple grand that hits the account? They're like, nah, I'm more of a stacker. It's like, good. So you're kind of trying to set yourself up to make a big swing. And he's like, yep. I don't need to financially qualify more than that.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to keep pressing, engaging and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like he's already kind of told me, like I'm a stacker. I like to do it. I like to do that. You know, if he's like, nah, I spend a little decent amount of money, got a little lifestyle, and I'll just use jokes. I'll be like, look, there was an era in my life where I was at the club every single weekend. You know, I was spending it as fast as I make it. You that type of person, or you the type of person that kind of just likes to read, watch a movie, etc.? Like, what's your life look like? What do you like to spend your money on? You know what I mean? And then he just tells me, and I have a good gauge on people. You know, like, oh, I'm a pretty quiet person, you know, like just make some money. Bills are pretty cheap. I live with a roommate, and I'm like, you don't like to eat out? You don't like to do nothing? See, I'm pressing. I'm like, I mean, like I like to eat out every once in a while. I'm like, okay, so that's what I'm talking about, because the difference in you eating out versus me is maybe I like to go to Nick and Sam's, a nice steakhouse in Dallas. Like, well, what's your take? Like, you know, obviously I'm not asking you for your grocery list here, but I'm just trying to gauge and see like what your lifestyle actually looks like. Because if you want to obviously make more money with this opportunity, I'm trying to find a way like, what are you going to be spending this money on? Are you going to be putting it in this? Is the game plan make more money with this so you can get out of the job? Is the game plan with this keep the job, use it for the the benefits that a job will give you, like, and you get benefits and you get all this awesome stuff, and then do this on the side? Like what's in your mind, right? Like I'm going to play into it, and then I'm just going to advise them on like why that's either stupid or why my idea is better. But I'm going to let them tell me, like, you know what I mean? I'm going to let them tell me their life, and then I'll just advise around it. And if they're telling me, and by the way, the motive isn't to just ask stupid questions that don't make sense. The motive is to find out how much money they're making. That's the motive. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace out.